Chapter 1. The Spark of Wisdom and Leadership. Tony Robbins began his quest for wisdom at an early age, growing up in an environment that taught him the power of perseverance. He was a keen observer of the people who shared his street corner and the quiet lessons in his parents' conversations. One of his first realizations was that true leadership requires more than authority. It requires wisdom, a deep understanding of oneself and those one serves. He famously said, "The way you treat yourself is reflected in how you treat others." This insight forms the foundation of his approach to wisdom and leadership, blending personal growth with external impact. The story of his first public speaking opportunity illustrates his leadership philosophy. After high school, Tony joined a local youth group and was tasked to lead a weekend meeting. Nervous, he remembered a principle he had heard from a coach: ask questions, listen, and then act. He opened the session by asking participants what they feared most in life, then shared his own fear of failure. The room resonated, and he guided them through a simple breathing exercise that helped them feel grounded. His leadership was not about speaking loudly. It was about listening wisely and turning shared anxieties into collective action. Tony Robbins shares another favorite quote that captures the essence of wisdom in leadership. Wisdom is not about gathering all the facts, but about knowing what to do with them. He means that true leaders sift through information and apply it with intention, not just accumulation. This means asking the right questions. What is the core purpose? Who are the stakeholders? What small step can shift a large goal? For modern audiences, this principle translates into concrete actions. If you are a manager, start each meeting with a single guiding question. Ask your team, what is the most important thing we can accomplish today that aligns with our long-term vision? If you are an entrepreneur, pause between every strategic decision to evaluate its impact on your core values. Use a simple list at the end of each day. What did I learn? What could I have done differently? What will I repeat tomorrow? Closing this chapter, remember that wisdom begins with humility and a desire to understand before being understood. Take a moment to reflect. How can you combine listening with action in your next leadership role? Like, share, and subscribe for more wisdom and leadership. Chapter 2. The 3 Pillars of Wise Leadership. Tony Robbins has distilled his leadership experience into 3 core principles that he calls the pillars of wise leadership: purpose, influence, and accountability. These pillars are intertwined, each strengthening the other, and they provide a roadmap for personal growth and business success. Purpose. First, purpose. Tony often says that a leader who knows their mission drives others forward. In his own life, he traced his first big breakthrough back to the moment he realized that his work was about turning negative energy into positive outcomes for people worldwide. He uses stories of ordinary individuals who have overcome obstacles by focusing on why they do what they do. When you ask yourself, why? You clarify your mission and align your actions automatically. Influence. Second, influence. Tony taught that influence is about building trust through consistency. He shares a story from his early coaching days when he mentored a nervous high school athlete. By praising effort over result, he created a learning environment. This simple strategy shifted the athlete's mindset from fear to resilience, a powerful demonstration of influence. For leaders today, this means creating rituals that reinforce your values: daily gratitude calls, weekly check-ins that celebrate incremental progress, and a culture of open feedback. Accountability. Third, accountability. Robbins reminds us that leaders own both their results and the process. He recalls a time when he publicly admitted a mistake during a live telecast. That vulnerability showed humility and courage, boosting his credibility immeasurably. Today, accountability can be practiced by setting clear metrics and sharing them openly with your team, ensuring everyone knows the expectations and takes responsibility for outcomes. Practical example, create your own leadership compass. On a whiteboard, write down the 3 pillars. For each day, write a short action under each pillar, e.g., under purpose, write, share one story of impact. Under influence, write, ask and listen to one colleague. Under accountability, write, report on your progress toward a goal. Review your compass weekly. Conclusion for this chapter. By integrating purpose, influence, and accountability into daily habits, you form a sturdy framework that nurtures wisdom and fosters effective leadership. What 3 actions will you add to your leadership routine to anchor these pillars today? Like, share, and subscribe for more wisdom and leadership. Chapter 3. Living the Principles, Robbins in Action. Tony Robbins did not simply teach, he lived the wisdom he preached. The most powerful illustration of this is his transformation from a troubled teenager to a global motivational icon. Each phase of his journey demonstrates a different leadership lesson. Early challenges illustrate resilience. In his youth, Robbins faced instability and low self-esteem. He learned to frame setbacks as stepping stones. He once shared a favorite anecdote. After my first failed attempt to sell a product, I asked myself why I failed. The answer was not the market, but my fear of rejection. I decided not to let that fear dictate my future. He turned each failure into a data point that informed his next decision. The lesson is simple: view obstacles as data rather than judgment. Mentoring as a conduit for wisdom. As he rose, he used mentorship as a tool for spreading wisdom. He told a story about working with a young entrepreneur at a startup. The entrepreneur wanted to scale fast, but lacked the discipline to prioritize. Robbins introduced a simple technique: focus on the one thing that leads to the majority of results. The entrepreneur adopted it and grew his company fivefold. This shows the power of precise guidance. Public speaking as service. Robbins's workshops are famous for their intensity, but the core message remains consistent: leadership is service. During a keynote, he paused to allow attendees to set personal intentions. This shifted the atmosphere from passive listening to active engagement. The effect? Increased motivation and a shared sense of purpose. Apply these stories to your life. 1. After a bad review, write the lesson learned instead of dwelling on the disappointment. 2. Schedule a 15-minute mentorship call each week. Use the one thing focus technique to align goals. 3. At the end of any meeting, ask participants to set one personal intention that will guide the rest of their day. Conclusion: when you embed these real-life actions into your routine, you practice the wisdom he shares. Which story of your own experience can you turn into a lesson for others today? Like, share, and subscribe for more wisdom and leadership. Chapter 4. Modern Life Hacks for Wisdom and Leadership. Tony Robbins' teachings are timeless, yet the modern world demands agile and accessible applications. This chapter presents 4 actionable hacks that translate his wisdom into everyday practice for personal motivation and group growth. Hack 1: the daily question ritual. Each morning, ask yourself a single question that reflects purpose and direction. What is the most important thing I can do today that will bring me closer to my long-term goal? Write the answer in a journal. By framing your day around a concise question, you give your actions a clear compass. Hack 2: micro-learning loops. Choose a leadership or personal development book and read one chapter each week. Instead of reading the whole book at once, focus on applying the key takeaway in a small experiment. The next day, reflect on what changed. I read about active listening. This afternoon, I practiced it with a colleague. Hack 3: social validation matrix. Create a simple matrix on your phone where you track the impact of each decision. Columns: positive impact, negative impact, no impact. After each major choice, record the outcome. Over time, you'll see patterns that reveal your strengths and blind spots, guiding wiser decisions. Hack 4: accountability partners. Pair with a colleague or friend who shares similar goals. Set weekly check-ins where you report progress and hold each other accountable. Robust accountability fosters discipline and reduces the chance of falling back into old habits. Practical illustration: say you're launching a new product. Use Hack 1 to ask, what single action today will drive the most customer interest? The answer might be, post a user-generated story on social media. Hack 3 will document whether the story increased engagement. Hack 4 will ensure you follow up with your partner to review results and iterate. Conclusion: by weaving these hacks into your routine, you align daily life with Robbins's philosophy. Which hack resonates most with your current challenges, and how will you begin using it tomorrow? Like, share, and subscribe for more wisdom and leadership. Chapter 5. The future of your wise leadership legacy. Tony Robbins emphasizes that wisdom and leadership evolve with practice, reflection, and community. As you close this journey, consider the tools you've gathered and how to keep them alive. Step 1. Commit to continuous learning. Set a yearly goal to read 2 books on leadership, attend a workshop, or listen to a thought leader podcast. Your wisdom grows as you expose yourself to new ideas. Step 2. Cultivate a legacy mindset. Think beyond your own success. How can your leadership serve others? Design a small project, maybe a mentoring program, a workshop, or a community service in which you apply your lessons. Step 3. Measure impact, not ego. Regularly evaluate success by the effect on people rather than personal accolades. Let this shift your motivation from external status to internal fulfillment. Step 4. Share your story. Document milestones and share them with the community. The narrative of your growth is powerful because it illustrates how theory transforms into practice. Conclusion: wisdom is not static. It requires practice, humility, and the willingness to serve. By anchoring your leadership in purpose, influence, and accountability, and by applying Robbins's hacks, you build a lasting legacy. How will you begin this next chapter of your wise leadership tomorrow? Like, share, and subscribe for more wisdom and leadership.